Hey guys! With the summer winding down, I wanted to share my recent SideQuest summer animation. I have always loved adding quirky and simple animations to vacation photos, and I thought it would be fun to share my process to help you bring your summer experiences to life. Feel free to follow along. I have included a link to my Procreate Dreams exercise file in the description. To start out, I like to do a rough sketch of the animation. I did mine in Procreate, but you could definitely do it directly in Procreate Dreams. And once that sketch is done, I like to think through the animations before I dive in. So looking at my sketch, I think I want to give the cloud and the sun a wiggle animation for some subtle movements. And then I'll have the sun's face moving up and down. And I will have the waves moving towards the shore and then going back out to create a nice kind of ping pong loop. And then I'll have the legs shifting side to side. And now that our animation is planned out, we're ready to dive into the file. Setting up your file. So if you're following along, you'll see I have the file already set up. The goal here is to keep it super simple so you can animate on the go. So I have my file set up already with 12 frames per second and a 1 second duration, and I have looping mode already activated. I also have my background image set up as well as an empty flipbook and an empty drawing container already set up in the timeline. Now, depending on the image that you're using, you may need to make some adjustments so that the white lines will pop better. So for this one, I'm going to darken the image a little so that my lines pop better. So I'm gonna first go to the edit drawing button, which will open up the drawing mode, and then I'm going to go and then choose a dark color. And I'm just going to click and drag to fill the space, and then I will double tap on the drawing icon to return back to the timeline. And then now what I'm going to do is click on my image, and then I'm just going to hold down to bring up the content options. And then here I'm going to click and I'm going to reduce the opacity a little. So somewhere kind of mid 70s. And now I have that set up, I can dive into the flipbook mode. And then now that I'm in flipbook mode, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start at the top and then work my way down on the image. And so I think I will start with the sun first. And I'm going to just go ahead and rename my tracks. And I'm going to just keep naming my tracks as I go. So then that way it's easier for me to know which track is which. I'll also go in and then change my color to white. And then I am using the dry ink brush, which can be found in the inking category. Okay, so now I'll just dive in and draw my sun. And then I'm going to go to the next frame and redraw it, which is going to give me kind of a nice little wiggle effect. And now that I have 3 frames, I'm going to select them by clicking on the selection tool and then sliding over the frames I want to select. And I'm going to just hold down until I get this, and I'm going to drag it over, as I just want to keep these animations very simple and slow. And then I'm going to duplicate it to fill out the loop of the animation. And as you can see, when I play it back, I have kind of a nice little subtle wiggle going on. Now I'm going to add a new track. And I'll relabel it. And then here I'm just going to draw the sunglasses. Awesome. And I'm just going to go ahead and extend it to 2 frames. And then I'm going to duplicate it a couple of times. And then with the second one selected, I'm going to go and hit on the transform button. And then I'm just going to go and then move this up. And then I'm gonna skip the 3rd one and go to the 4th one And this time I'm gonna hit transform, and then I'm gonna pull it down. And then I'll skip one again, and then go to the last one. And this time I will hit transform and then bring it up. And so now I have this kind of fun little head nodding animation that was done super quick and easy by just duplicating one frame and then using the transform tool to move it up and down. Now I'll move on to the cloud. And now I'll draw the little face of it. And then add the eyes. And then I'm just gonna have this be a simple wiggle animation, so I'll just redraw the first image 2 more times. And then with that variation, you'll get that cool little subtle wiggle effect. I'm just keeping it very loose and simple. I'm not worried about perfection, just kind of having fun with creating the animation. And then once I'm done, I will select those 3 frames, extend them so they're 2 frames long each, and then hit duplicate so it fills in the full screen. And now I have my sky already set up and looking good, so now I'll move on to the waves. So I'm just going to start by drawing the horizon line, and then I'm going to just add a little simple line of where the beginning of the waves are. And then I'll just add kind of some subtle waves, movement lines. And then now I'll go on to the next frame. And then this time I have the wave starting to come in shore. Add some wave lines throughout. And I'm just trying to kind of position them in different spots than what I had previously. And then I'm just gonna kind of draw where the waves are gonna be foaming up. Just adding some little extra details for the foam of the waves. And like I said, I'm not like worried about perfection, just keeping it fun and loose. And then I'll extend that frame. And then this time I'm gonna have it go out a little bit further. And feel free to stylize your waves however you prefer. I'm just kind of using squiggles and simple lines, but feel free to kind of adjust it to your style. And then once again, I'll add some waves in the water to show kind of the movement of the water as it's kind of going inwards. And then I'll extend that frame. And then this one will be the one that will go out the furthest. And then once again, add some new motion lines to just show the water's moving forward. And then for these last two frames, I'm actually gonna copy these two frames. And why I'm doing that is I want it to have more of a ping pong effect where the waves are going forward and then coming back, just like it does in real life. So I'm gonna copy these and then go to frame 9 and hit paste. And then I'm going to select those two and then hold down, and then I'm going to use a new feature which is called flip frames. And then what that does is it will flip the order of those two frames. And so now what I have is this nice ping pong effect where the waves are going out and then coming back in as it's looping. Nice. So now the last step is going to be to draw and animate the legs on the beach towel. So I will create a new track. And one thing I'm going to mention is I'm starting on frame 7, and that's so that I can see how far the waves will go out. So I'll bring that frame back to the start of the timeline, and then I will extend it. Then I will hold on the frame and then hit duplicate. And then I'm going to just use the transform tool to just move it a little bit. And then I will duplicate that one, and then click on the transform tool, and then I'm just rotating it a little bit further. And then after the third frame, I will duplicate that one, and then I'll start to rotate it back the other way. Yeah, and then now I have kind of this subtle where it's kind of going back and forth. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to return to the timeline, and then I'm going to actually convert my flipbook into tracks, and then I will open up the group. And then use the selection tool here, and I will select all my leg frames, and I'm going to group them, and then I'm going to hold down on the group and then duplicate it. And then this way I can just move over the leg. And then now I have both of my legs doing the same thing. And now I'm going to click on the group, and then I'm going to convert it back to a flipbook. And now I'll add a new track, which will be for the towel. And I'll just draw the towel around the feet. And then I'll extend that frame and then go to the next one. And then just continue redrawing the towel. And just continue using the onion skins to help me redraw the towel around the legs. And I will continue redrawing the towel until I finish drawing all the frames for that track. Okay, and then once I'm done, I'm gonna play it all back. And remember, if you tap on the screen with 4 fingers, it will go into full screen mode. And that looks great. To recap, I just showed you how to create a fun, easy animation that you can do on the go. It's a great way to celebrate all your fun, trips and vacations, and add a little fun animation flair to your past experiences. Through this tutorial, we walk through how to create a wiggle effect by redrawing an image 2 more times. We also walk through how to use the transform tools to help with your animations, as well as how to create a ping pong effect in a looping animation. And I hope that you have found all these techniques and tricks really helpful and that you'll apply them to your own summer side quests. If you do create something and post it on social media, feel free to tag me in it. I'd love to see what you created. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye.